Welcome in, everyone, to episode 33 of the Meme Streams 32 Teams podcast. I'm Justin,
I'm Eddie. Nice
and
to
we
meet
are actually live on Twitch for the first time doing our podcast. This is the first true episode on Twitch. So if you're watching, hello. But yeah, we're here. We're going to be on Twitch every week. Twitch.tv/meme streams 32 teams. You can watch us every week at 7 p.m. Central Time. Hope to see you guys here. What, Eddie?
plan.
Football. That's why we're here.
Yes.
Well,
before we get into it, I just saw something really interesting looking at the Falcons roster or the Falcons schedule for this year.
Mhm.
On ESPN they always show the ticket prices on the side.
Mhm.
They're all pretty normal, between like $70 and $100. A couple are a little bit lower, except for the game against the Jets in London,
how much are tickets?
as low as $682.
Wait. So what? There's
The lowest ticket
$680? Is that what you said?
on Vivid Seats. There's 6 tickets available, all for $682. Or 6 options available. Sorry.
Why?
I guess football's a hot commodity over there.
I've actually heard that they go crazy overseas for football.
I mean, there's only a few teams that I actually get to see a year, maybe. And it's usually the same 4 to 6 teams that go over there. Same thing with Mexico. They always get the Raiders and somebody.
Well, not every year, because the year that
First years.
well, you remember when Mahomes and Goff threw for like 6 billion yards? They were in Mexico.
Yes, and then they immediately scheduled it again for the next year.
So not every year the Raiders. But
Guess not every year.
But it's cool to see it going back overseas. I heard that either next year or the year after, or something like that, they're supposed to be setting up games in Germany.
Really?
Do you remember this is going to be like, I say way back, but like 15 to 20 years ago, there was the games. There was a league in Germany.
A football league?
Yes, it was a like development league that was made
Vaguely.
for.
I couldn't tell you anything about it, but I do remember hearing something.
German Football League. I want to look it up because I'm.
And it was American football. It wasn't soccer. It wasn't rugby. It was legit American football.
Yes, it was American football. I don't even remember what it was called.
I couldn't tell you. I was
American football team.
5, 10.
Frankfurt Galaxy. I remember this team. They played in the wait. There's a European League of Football starting in 2021. What?
Learning all kinds of things right now.
There's 8 teams.
Let's go.
We have the Berlin Thunder, which I think is a return. We have the Hamburg Sea Devils, the Leipzig Kings, the they're from Poland, so I'm butchering this.
This is all Germany.
No.
Or all Europe, sorry.
Yes. You have the Wroclaw Panthers. It's probably butchered completely, but oh well. Then you have the Barcelona Dragons, the Cologne Centurions, the Frankfurt Galaxy, and the Stuttgart Surge.
Interesting.
They want to go to 20 teams in 10 countries?
Let's go. So now we will get to have a legit world champion here in about 5 years.
Yes. I mean,
that's got to be in the books. That's got to be part of the plan.
Oh, by the way, it was literally just called NFL Europe League before.
Oh, the one I found was German Football League that ran from 79 to 99.
This ran from 95 to 2006 or 2007.
So they've tried a few times.
Yeah, so yeah. But yeah, so football's going to be back in Germany, but like they're going to have American teams play one game in Germany, I think, a season.
NFL team.
Yeah, an NFL team. If I remember correctly, that's what I read that.
And apparently there will be a German Football League in 2021 starting on June 5th. Did it just
June
start?
June 5th.
Wait,
Wait, we're 10 days behind, Eddie. What do you
hold
mean?
on, hold on.
This is not what we're supposed to talk about today, but I am
I know, but
just
this is
so
interesting.
intrigued. It's a German football league, right? It's supposed to start
GFL.
EFL.
Yeah, there's 2 weeks worth of scores.
Uh, oh, this website's completely in German. Why did I click on this?
This one is English, apart from like the countries, I guess.
Can
That
you?
is interesting. Yeah.
Okay. Oh, that's where I was. Oh wait, I'm on the. I guess I'm on the. Wait, does that say 83 to nothing?
Yes, it does.
Did they even try?
They're not very good.
Oh
The
my
Frankfurt Universe.
goodness.
Look at the Frankfurt Universe has lost 83 to nothing and 72 to nothing.
Okay, I think Frankfurt needs a new team. I think they need a new
Jesus
team.
Christ.
Oh no. Oh
You would,
no.
if you look at it like a stats for a team, you see a negative 150, quick math, 154, 155 differential, negative 155. I would assume that was for a full season, not 2 games.
Oh man. That's
I love some of these names though. Scorpions, Mercenaries, Monarchs, Crocodiles, Hurricanes. They got some good names.
I just they
I,
lost. They lost. It's not funny. It's not funny.
you're right. It's hilarious. That's pitiful.
155 to 0 is their score.
Oh, God,
How many turnovers do they have?
that's what I'm
This is
looking
not what
at.
we're supposed to talk about again, but like I
No,
am
but
so
it's too
intrigued.
interesting.
Fumbles lost 6. They've thrown 4 interceptions. They have 10 turnovers,
In
and
2 games.
yeah, okay, I get that part, but only 155 to 0, or 10. You take 10 turnovers and 155 points. It doesn't seem like it is.
I mean, assuming they got 7 points of turnover, that's 70 points. That's half the points they've given up.
They've only gotten 55 points off of turnovers.
And there was 20 in the other game.
No, it's 55 total.
Oh, total? Okay.
I have a list here of everything.
Gotcha. Wow. 0-yard fumble recovery for touchdown.
Dude, they've used 4 different
80
quarterbacks.
in 2 games?
Oh, one of them only has 1 attempt. I'm not going to count it.
Garbage time.
I just.
Okay, so the scoring drives, I'm looking at the 83 to nothing game. Again, this is not what we're supposed to be talking about. This is too interesting. Time of possession. I'm just going to read off the time of possession for all 12 of their touchdowns. 13 seconds, minute 29, 36 seconds, 51 seconds, 45 seconds, 10 seconds, 36 seconds, minute 9, 53 seconds, 204, 150. And I have to assume they scored every time they touched the ball.
I just don't. I just don't. Okay? I don't get it.
All right, this could be a whole topic for another day.
I didn't even this is it was like, haha, they're gonna have games in Germany. And we're like, nope, they're gonna have a full league.
And it's happening now.
Yeah. We're behind apparently.
2 weeks. They've had 2 weeks of games.
Well, let's jump into the topic that we're supposed to be talking about today, which is the Julio Jones trade.
Yes.
What we're gonna do is I'm gonna get your thoughts first because you are a Falcons fan. How do you
Yes.
feel about the trade as a whole?
It's bittersweet. It was a good trade all the way around. I don't think there's any losers in this trade. It sucks to lose Julio, but we couldn't afford him at the end of the day. That's really what it comes down to, unfortunately, is money. Since we have done the trade, we've signed 6 of our draft picks.
Okay.
So we needed the money. The fact that they took the whole contract and gave us 60 million over the next 3 years, I think like 18 million this year. We needed that money. That's all there is to it. And I hate to see him go. Um, this may be petty, but I'm glad he's not wearing number 11 on the Titans.
I mean,
It would look weird. It would look weird
you saw his reasoning for choosing the number, right?
for number 2,
Yeah.
1+1.
You know, so it's 1+1 = 2, and
2
then
times 11 is 22
22,
for
which is Derrick
Derrick
Henry.
Henry,
Yeah,
which is cool. I like that.
see,
I'm just glad he's
that's
not wearing
just
number 11.
that's so much thought into a number, man. Just pick a number and move on. It's not. I don't know.
It is a big deal.
I
Yeah,
guess.
it really is. Like, I mean, I haven't played baseball in God 10 plus years now, but I always wanted to be 4 or 24. It just it's what it is. I didn't feel comfortable wearing something that wasn't 4 or 24.
Well, like my favorite number is 18, so like obviously I wanted 18, but I mean like there's no meaning behind the number. It's just
Yeah,
my favorite number. So like I don't know. It just
that's just what it was.
seems extreme to me at least to be like I'm only picking 2 because 1+1 because AJ Brown's a number 1 and I'm a number 1, so that's 2. Then 2 times the 11 that AJ Brown is wearing, then it's 22 for Derrick. It's just I don't know. It's a lot.
Yeah, it's weird. So the whole trade was Julio was traded to the Titans. The Titans took on Julio's whole contract and gave us their next year second and fourth round picks. The Falcons gave up obviously Julio and our 2023 sixth round pick.
Yeah.
And
So it's
we don't have the contract anymore on our books, which was the main focus of that trade.
the
And
sixth
he
round
wanted
pick.
out and a whole bunch of other things, but
The sixth round pick is like whatever. It's just that's a throwaway pick to just add
yeah,
on to the pile. Getting a second is good. I kind of see why you guys didn't get a first for Julio. He's up there in age,
yeah.
and it's sort of a risk to give up a
Honestly,
first round pick for him.
if somebody said, "Hey, we want to take Julio," and we say no, obviously we don't want to give up Julio, but Julio did not want to play in Atlanta anymore, so already that sets us off on the wrong foot for this season. And the Titans came to us and said, "We will also take his full contract." That right there, I don't really care after that. We're breaking even on Julio basically, and he gave us 10 years.
Yeah. So the next
10?
3 years, the
So,
Titans will pay him 15 million, 11 million, and then 11 million.
yeah, not
So
counting incentives.
obviously not counting incentives, but yeah. So that's 22 plus 15. It's 37, about 38 million that they have to pay. So
Yeah,
the Falcons get 38 million in cap space, which is really nice.
yeah.
So
Which
hopefully,
again, we signed a lot of our draft picks off of that, just this year's portion of that money, which was huge.
so let's look at the Falcon side of it, right? So the Titans will definitely be a bigger discussion,
Mhm.
but the Falcons not getting another player, signing your rookies, awesome. But can Calvin Ridley be the number 1?
Yes, he was the number one for the last 2 seasons whenever Julio was hurt. Because I don't think he's played a full season in 2 or 3 years.
Do you
So he will fill that role just fine. I don't have any doubt in that.
who fills
And
in
if not
behind him?
him, Russell Gage,
Okay.
who I think this is like his third year at LSU.
Yep, 3 years experience at LSU.
And then we have Kyle Pitts, who we just drafted, which I'm gaining confidence in the day by the day
I mean,
for Kyle Pitts.
Kyle Pitts has the build and 6'6", 246, which is ridiculous, and runs a 4.3, 4.4. What was it again?
I think it was a 4.43 or something like
Which is
that.
ridiculous. So him just alone, looking at him, he has to be good. Like there's nothing unless he is just not football smart. That is the only thing
Yeah,
that will hold him back at this point. He has all the
yeah.
intangibles. He has the size. He's built to be the next Travis Kelce or the next
He's built
George Kittle.
different.
He is built for tough. So
Yeah. He's
he,
got all the makings he needs.
but now it's now like Calvin Ridley is now a true number one that people are going to look at him as a number one. It's not going to be Julio gets injured and the next week Ridley's number one and a team is like
Yeah.
in a way sort of scrambling to figure out how to guard him as a number one. Now it is
Yeah.
he
Full
has to
focus
show
on
out
Calvin.
as a number one.
Which I don't think we'll have an issue with that. The only thing is I don't think Calvin Ridley has um the threatening, I guess, aura that Julio had. Because you would throw the ball to Julio in double coverage and he would come down with it 8 out of 10 times. That is the only thing that I think we lost with losing Julio. Because I don't know if Calvin Ridley can do that.
The thing with Ridley compared to Julio is I think Ridley, I could be wrong, but I think Ridley's more of like an OBJ style. Like he's obviously he'll burn you, but he's gonna beat you off the line.
Yeah.
His size
He's
isn't his strong suit. It's his feet.
separation,
Yeah. So
which he has done really good at that. But it's those situations where you do have the cornerbacks man to man on him, and then the safety comes over the top for the help. Those are the situations that it's going to be kind of weird. The times when it's one on one, I don't think he loses that battle as far as getting separation or streaking down the field. I don't think he loses that battle often, if ever.
do you run? You guys will be running Ridley, Gage. Then who fills in as the number 3?
Depth chart says Sharp, Taji Sharp. I don't know that name, to be honest with you.
It could be. I mean, looking at your guys'
Zacchaeus,
roster, I don't know.
Zacchaeus and Blake have both filled in as that number 3, number 4 spot in the past. So it'll be interesting to see what we do with the slot.
Ridley
But
says
I
he
mean,
feels no pressure, but
I don't think it's good.
I think
I
there's a
don't think
lot of pressure on him, not to replace Julio, but to cement himself as a number one. That's just a different. That's a
Yeah,
different thing. Because like trying to
yeah,
fill someone's shoes, that's difficult because if you're not the same type of player,
and
it's just not gonna work.
big shoes they are.
Yeah, physically, yes, they are big shoes. Yeah.
Yeah,
So I think the pressure is on Ridley to be the number one, because if Ridley's not a solid number one, then they're just gonna single cover him, and then Gage will just get double covered if he is a good number 2, and then your offense will struggle.
I'm more curious on how much of the load Kyle Pitts is going to take. Because there's going to be a lot of pressure on Calvin Ridley to pick up some of the slack now since he is moving into that number 1 role, and same for Russell Gage to move into that number 2 role. But in the last, actually, I don't think since we've had Calvin Ridley have we had a threatening tight end. We had Mohamed Sanu for a little while. He wasn't a tight end, obviously, but he was another guy who we had trust in to catch the ball.
Your last solid tight end was
Tony
Tony
Gonzalez,
Gonzalez, right? So
yeah.
maybe this is what the Falcons have been missing outside of a run game that you guys have never had since Devontae Freeman's like second year.
Yeah, that's a whole nother issue for that we have for sure that the Falcons have.
Do you think, thinking about it, Le'Veon Bell is not going to be re-signing with the Chiefs?
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, after coming out and saying Andy Reid, whatever he said about Andy Reid, that just doesn't make any sense.
Yeah. I think he's done. I'd go back to the Chiefs in a heartbeat, or the Eagles in a heartbeat.
Would you be against signing Le'Veon Bell, not for an extreme contract, but something like 2 years,
at minimum or something,
$8 million or something? Like that's not a lot of money for someone of his history.
Yes and no. Yes, because I think he's a drama queen, and that is not always good for locker room chemistry. But he is good whenever he wants to be. Whenever he actually performs, he's one of the best. No, because we went down this route before already with Steven Jackson a couple years ago. And he put up like 400 yards on the season, like 2 touchdowns.
And then, do you mean Todd Gurley?
No.
Actually, wait. you guys have. This is the second time you guys have signed a Rams running back.
Yep.
You went Steven Jackson, and then now I'm vaguely remembering Steven Jackson being in a Falcons jersey. Okay, and then
Yep.
Todd Gurley did nothing.
Not much better, yeah.
You
So
guys
yeah,
have, but you guys have a new head coach now
correct.
with
Who
Arthur
is
Smith,
the Titans' ex offensive coordinator?
which is a weird situation.
Yeah, I think that had some pull in the trade, but we'll never know for sure. I feel like it had to, but I don't know. I know very little to none about him, other than he has brought the Titans to be what they are over the past couple seasons. So with that in mind, I'm curious how much freedom he's going to give our offensive coordinator, who honestly I don't know who that is right now.
Unless he is the offensive coordinator, because sometimes coaches do that.
Yeah, we saw what happened when Dan Quinn tried to be defensive coordinator too.
I mean, that's fair.
Dave Ragone, he was hired beginning of this year, after last season. So we have a new head coach, offensive and defensive coordinator.
I mean, it's basically then a whole new coaching staff.
Yeah, which is what we did after Jim Mora in like 2007 ish. Whenever we brought on Mike Smith, we cleaned the whole front office and came in with Arthur Smith or
Mike Smith.
Mike Smith. Yeah, came in with Mike Smith, and that was the same year. First year we had Matt Ryan, and as a brand new team, we made it to the wild card. So I wouldn't be upset with that this year because I have no idea what's happening.
Coming off you guys last season getting fourth in the NFC South, and then being a wild card team with a new staff would be. I mean, it's a win.
I think that's a win for sure.
Unless you want to go like fourth again in the division, get a good draft pick, and draft. I don't know who's coming out of the draft yet. I haven't done any research on who's coming out of the next year's draft. Obviously, we're a year away. But like drafting like a top running back or a top offensive lineman.
Yeah.
Would you be against that outcome?
Yeah, because I don't want to see us lose again.
I get it. But like
that's hard to see.
Let's think long term.
I would only be okay with that if the Falcons came out before the first game of the season and said, we are tanking. This is a rebuild year.
No team will ever say they're going to tank.
Then no, I'm not okay with it.
Then the fans won't attend games. They won't watch the games.
Oh, I'll still watch.
A lot of fans
I'll just turn it off first.
I mean, you'll be like me when last year when Dak went down, I stopped watching the Cowboys games because I was like, this is just embarrassing.
Yeah, that's why I'll turn it off after like the first quarter, first half.
I didn't even watch a quarter. That's how bad it was.
I will for sure. Even if they did come out and say that, I'm gonna at least see what Kyle Pitts is gonna do.
Okay, that's fair.
Yeah, at a minimum.
I'm not against that.
Yeah, but no, I would not be okay with that outcome just because it would just be another disappointing season. Now, I would be okay with it. And this is going to contradict everything I just said, kind of. If we went 0-17. Just because it's the first year somebody can do that.
Oh my god! Stop that. Or what if you guys go 0-17? Thoughts?
How would that work in the standings?
Yes,
it counts as a half win, a half loss, so we would be 8.5.
I guess
technically. So
I
an
really
0-17
don't know. I did
team,
not think this through.
An 0-17 team would beat out a 7-10 team to the wild card.
I would lose my mind.
Think that's a hypothetical for somebody. That'll never happen. Like that.
No.
That is impossible to happen. But I'm curious because isn't that how ties work though? It counts like a half win, half loss. An 8-1 team is better than an 8-9 team.
Yes, that is correct. So, I mean,
how does that work?
Are you just better than every? Are you just better than every team that has
an
less than
under 500?
Yeah, it would be an under 500 team. You'd be better than all of them. Then
Man, people were pissed when the 7-9 Seahawks made playoffs.
Or when the 7-8-1 Panthers, right?
Yeah.
So I'm like, just
But
imagine.
the 7-8-1 Panthers won the division that year, though.
Imagine a 0-0-17. I just imagine looking at the standings and seeing 0-0-1-7. Like,
Well, think about it. Now they win that wild card game.
stop.
First win comes in the first round of the wild card.
They're one. Imagine they go 4-0-17.
Win the Super Bowl. Oh God, that would piss off some people.
But articles written for days.
I was gonna say Arthur Blank better trademark 4-0-17.
Yeah. Anyways,
anyone else catch that?
Yeah. Let me ask you this question. How many wins, I'm looking at the Falcons schedule, how many wins do you think the Falcons get without Julio? You guys have obviously been without Julio for games here and there the past few seasons. But
just looking through it quickly.
Yep, real quick.
And for anyone who, I don't think we've said this at all, but for anybody who's new listening to us or anything, we will go through and talk about each division specifically and give our predictions for that division and predictions all the way through to who we think will win the Super Bowl before week 1 happens. So what I say now will definitely change.
Yep, definitely.
But looking at it very quickly,
Stop it.
Philly will be a toss-up. Tampa will lose. Giants, Washington, Jets, we should win. Miami will be a toss-up. Carolina will be a toss-up. Saints will be a toss-up. Dallas will be a toss-up, if not a loss. New England we don't know. There's so many question marks for all these teams. I'll say 7 wins.
That's more credit than I'm giving them. I was going to say 5-12.
Yeah, I'm thinking if we win half of these toss-up games, which there's like at least 10 of.
Yep.
And we should beat the Giants. We should beat the Jets. We should beat Washington.
I don't know, man. You don't give the Giants enough credit.
No, I don't.
Daniel Jones and Saquon. Saquon's coming back from his injury. I know that's a risk, but Daniel Jones and Saquon, and they got Kevin Golladay.
They have a good team.
That team is getting better, and I don't like it. I want them to do the opposite. I want them to get rid of players. Like all of them.
Yeah.
And just
the other side of that, though, we don't have a chance against Tampa, I don't think.
No.
We don't have a chance against Tampa. We play them twice because they're in the division.
Yep.
Cool. Like I said, Dallas, that's going to be a close one. I feel like we won't win that.
The question mark with New England at week 11 is that we don't know what quarterback's playing week 11.
Might be their linebacker.
It could be number 50.
Or defensive line. Their defensive lineman.
Throwing beautiful throws in practice instead of Cam Newton, who can't hit a wide open guy in practice. So I don't
overthrew him like 3 times. Yeah.
I don't know, man.
I know. Miami, I don't know. I think Miami's a good team. It's a wild card or bust kind of season, though. Which sounds horrible to say. Like, yeah, it'd be all right if we lost the wild card. But realistically, we have such a new team at this point. New coaching staff from top to bottom, pretty much. We just lost our $1 million man.
Here's the thing. I get what you're saying by saying wild card or bust. But the problem with that outlook is that you make the wild card or you barely miss it. Like draft picks could be anywhere from 6 positions.
Yeah,
so,
could be anywhere from 6 to 16.
That's a real I understand what you're saying for the organization, right?
Yeah,
that's what their success is. But as someone who wants to win Super Bowls, which I'd be crazy to think that you wouldn't want to do that. So
that's got to be everyone's goal.
So the thing of trying to win Super Bowls and trying to get better, it's either you win a Super Bowl or you want to have the best draft pick possible.
Yeah.
It's with the Cowboys, I hope we win every single game, or I hope we lose every single game. Like I don't want, I don't want the Cowboys to be the first 8-1 team in history.
The bad
Please,
thing, somebody is gonna do it.
I hope it's not the Cowboys. It's our history, and I'm so scared. But like, please, just don't
I'm
let it be
pulling
us.
for the Rams.
I'm down to do it. Like have an 8-1 season later on. Just don't be the
Not
first
the
one.
first.
Because if the Cowboys do it, I do not want to read any memes about the Cowboys for the next, I don't know, forever. Because it's already hard
Yeah.
enough reading them.
Keep in mind, wild card will consist of 3 teams this year from each side. 17 playoffs.
It was last year.
It was last year?
Yes.
Okay.
Because
Oh, you're right. COVID rules.
Yep. Yep.
Yeah. So
It's a,
extra game and an extra chance at the playoffs.
it is very interesting how things are going to play out this season, because I've said this on the last like 17 episodes. That's an extreme, but it's the first full off season post COVID.
Yeah.
So like teams are in mini camp. They didn't get that last year. Like they had rookie mini camp. Didn't have that last year.
Teams are actually building chemistry.
The Cowboys,
They
for
didn't have that
example,
last year.
they got a Friday off because Mike McCarthy said we're way ahead of where we were last year.
That's
Which
kind
is
of unfair to say,
which
but it is true.
I agree. I was like, well, at this point, you guys were doing Zoom calls.
At this point, you didn't know what was happening.
So, congrats on being farther ahead than Zoom calls. I don't know how to respond to that. But
yeah, it'll be a interesting season. I know we have said that the past like 4 or 5 episodes, but that it is what it is. It really is just going to be an interesting season coming back from the COVID year.
I'm just excited. I just want it. I want it now. Like it's my season, and I want it now.
8
But
weeks. 8 weeks?
just I
Yeah,
don't. I,
8 weeks
stop.
preseason.
It's so far. I want like
Closer to where we were last week.
I want to be like now. Is that fair?
Yeah, yeah.
So
Oh,
let's move on to
we
where
just want
Julio Jones is now at with the Tennessee
Tennessee Titans.
Titans. I think this makes the Titans, not that they weren't last year, but I think more so this year, a true AFC contender.
Yes.
I think with a number 1 and allowing AJ Brown to be the number 2 now, this is a like perfect time for this roster to just take off.
Do you think AJ Brown falls to that number 2? They let Julio have number 1?
Yes, on the field, Julio will match up with the number 1 cornerback. Like the whole 1-2, it all depends honestly on how the defense lines up, right? Because like a team can say, "Oh, that's our number 1," or "That's our number 1," but whatever cornerback is your true number 1, like Darrelle Revis, right? When he lined up on the field, he was always on your number 1 wide receiver.
Yes.
He would never face a number 2 and number 3. So I think Julio gets the number 1 cornerback covering him. So
Yeah,
by that
you would
standard,
definitely you would have to if they play against the Patriots. I don't know if they do, but for example, Stephen Gilmore is going to be on Julio. He's not going to be on AJ.
they do not play New England.
Okay. But I would
Oh no,
whoever
they
they're
do. I'm
playing,
blank.
I
It's right
gotta
in front of me.
imagine
They play in week 12.
they do.
Yep.
Okay, I gotta imagine Stephen Gilmore is going to be on Julio, not AJ Brown.
I would agree. I would be shocked if he was playing on AJ Brown. I guess shocked is an extreme term, but I see it with him on Julio.
Yeah.
But the one
And
thing that's interesting about this dynamic now with the roster is that you have 11 players on defense. If you double cover Julio, that leaves you with 9. You obviously have 1 on AJ Brown, that leaves you with 8. You're definitely going to have 3 or 4 linemen, let's say 4, so that gives you 4 less, like 4 players left. Now this is where you have to decide. We put all 4 of those extra players in the box to guard Derrick Henry. Do we do 2 safeties over the top, but only leave 2 extra players in the box? because that would be 5 linemen versus 6 players in the box, which is then Derrick Henry has to run over one guy. Or do you single cover Julio and put that extra guy in the box, but then Julio
and
single
then
covered?
risk that.
Yeah, like they just
Uh,
made it work all of a sudden. Like
Yeah,
it's perfect.
they have the recipe for success. They have outstanding wide receiver core. They have a quarterback that knows what they're doing, and if all that falls through, they've got a top 3 running back in the league. So it's something is going to work every game, unless they're just playing up against a literal brick wall. Something is gonna work.
I'm trying to decide. Do you think Derrick Henry is the best running back in the league right now?
That's why I said top 3. Right off, I don't know. He's got to be top 3 minimum. Only other name I can think off the top of my head is going to be Christian McCaffrey.
That's fair. Who was also injured last season.
Yeah, but that's the only other name that I can think of off the top of my head. And I'm sure that's only 2 of the 30 starting running backs in the league. So there's somebody we're forgetting.
Nick Chubb.
Chubb, yep.
Dalvin Cook.
Yep.
Zeke. Who's
Yep.
been
Who will hopefully be healthy and ready to go this year.
Who else? Aaron Jones.
Yeah, so
Alvin Kamara.
Yeah, so there's out of all of those right there, he's got to be top 3.
Oh, let me rephrase the question then, because best running back is very vague.
Yes.
Who is the best running back?
Running back?
There's no one better than Derrick Henry. I don't.
No.
He
I was thinking in terms of fantasy.
A rush last season.
That's untouchable as far as who it could be compared to him.
It's so
I'm thinking
annoying.
From a fantasy perspective, who do I want? Because Derrick Henry is still up there, where he's definitely more run heavy than he is receiving. But when you're talking about 5.4 yards a carry, and he probably averaged 25, 30 carries a game.
He averaged 22, 23? I'm doing vague math.
Yeah. And he had how many touchdowns? 17? Yeah.
Yep.
So a touchdown a game and averaged 180 yards a game, give or take.
It's right.
120 a game?
Yeah.
Oh, that's right. 125. Okay, yeah.
It's hard to think about, like.
I can't think of a better running back.
Do you think Derrick Henry runs for 2,000 yards again? There's no way, right?
Not with some of that production being taken away by Julio, no.
But the counterpoint to that is having Julio on the field will have less players in the box. So does Derrick Henry capitalize on that and run for more than 2,000 yards easily?
You're talking about averaging with that extra game. I keep forgetting there's the extra game now.
The records are going to be broken like crazy.
Yeah. So what is that? 2,000.
He would have ran
divided by 17. Oh, I put an extra number in there. 2,000.
It's like 112. That's a random number I threw out.
117. It
was close. 117. So
yeah,
that's so feasible for him.
That's more than doable for him.
He could do that in one run. I mean, okay, well.
I mean, he'll put up a couple 200-yard games.
Yeah, I don't see him not hitting 2K again.
It was 17 games. I'd be surprised if he didn't.
I feel like Derrick Henry is weirdly enough getting into his prime.
After he just had the rushing title, yeah, that's scary.
But I don't know, man.
For reference, he had 2,027 yards last year. The next closest was Dalvin Cook at 1,557. The next closest after that was Jonathan Taylor on the Colts at 1,169.
Yeah, he doubled most of the league. No big deal, by the way. He just doubled their yards.
I can't imagine, even if he's 80% as productive as last year, he's still going to have 1,800 yards with that extra game. And I think it does depend a lot on how Julio is utilized, but like we said, it's a double-edged sword. It's a triple-headed monster now for the Titans because they already, no matter what, they're going to have minimum one on AJ Brown, one on Julio, minimum.
Minimum, yeah.
More than likely, they're going to have one of those two double covered, if not both, if they really want to go all in on a pass defense.
If that's the crazy part. So again, if they double cover both of them, it leaves you with
That's
7
four players right
players.
there.
It leaves
Yeah.
you with 7. You're putting 7 in the box, which obviously you have your 5 linemen. So it's Derrick Henry versus 2. But if you're doing that, they're going to put both tight ends on the field.
Yes.
And that is 7 players versus 7. And then Derrick Henry hits the second level instantly.
Where one of those players, it's going to be 6 versus 7. Ryan Fitzpatrick's not going to be guarding or blocking.
You mean
More
Ryan
than likely.
Tannehill?
Ryan Tannehill. Jesus.
I was like,
Yeah.
Fitzmagic is with Washington.
There's too many people with a similar name. Yes, Tannehill. Then again, I wouldn't put it past Tannehill or Fitzpatrick. I've talked about him.
I don't know. This team is definitely in win now mode.
Oh yeah, they've got a year or two with this roster before they probably start running into money issues. It's now or next year, now or never for them.
The only team. So I said this to some of my coworkers the other day, right when this trade happened. To me, there are 4 AFC teams with a 5th team on the outside looking in that have a chance for a Super Bowl.
AFC teams?
AFC teams. I see the Chiefs, obviously, with Mahomes.
Mm-hmm.
I think the Titans, I think they were on the outside looking in before Julio, and now I think they definitely have solidified themselves.
They're a contender.
They're a contender. The Bills with Josh Allen, who is definitely, they're a good team.
Yes.
And the last one, people do not like me saying it, but it's our year, baby, the Browns. They should have beat the Chiefs last year.
Yes.
But, anything is possible.
Yes.
And then the 5th team looking in, to me, is the Chargers.
I had a different team in mind.
Who do you have as the 5th team?
Ravens.
Something about Lamar Jackson, man, just like he cannot get it together in the postseason. There's some disconnect.
Such a run first. He needs to not be a run first.
Well, get him a wide receiver to throw to. All they have is Hollywood. They don't have.
Yeah.
They have nothing to help him.
Yeah, they need something. I will agree with that.
I mean,
but
they got Sammy Watkins.
Not to say they couldn't do it.
But like Sammy Watkins is always injured. Then they drafted Rashad Bateman, and I don't know, man. The Ravens just, I don't know. They don't have it to me. Again, I've said this multiple times on the podcast, but like if something proves me wrong, I will gladly say that I was wrong and I'll admit it. But until then, I don't believe in the Ravens.
That's fair.
But again, like the 4 teams that I named, the Chiefs, Browns, Bills, Titans, no order. I have no idea who was going to be 1 through 4, but I think those are the 4 top teams in the league.
Which coincidentally are all from different divisions.
Somehow, yeah.
Yeah.
Like I see those 4, the Chargers, the Dolphins, and the Ravens being the 7 playoff teams.
The Chargers, the Dolphins, the Ravens. Okay, yeah.
Because the Colts were right there last year, but Carson Wentz,
that's their crutch. Unfortunately, that's their only.
I mean, he literally has
downside.
a crutch because he will hurt himself again.
Yeah.
So this Titans team, though, I think the real question is because I think everyone's gonna assume that Mahomes will carry the Chiefs again to a Super Bowl, right? Like
at some point in his $500 million contract, yes, they will be back in the Super Bowl.
Do you think,
if not once, twice?
Do you think the Titans can stop them this year? Because right now, I don't see anyone stopping the Chiefs. Mahomes is way too talented, and Tyreek Hill is way too fast.
I
And
mean, like
Travis
you said,
Kelsey
the
is
Browns
him.
should have beat them last year, so it's not impossible to see them
But Mahomes was injured.
lose. I, sometimes that's the way the cookie crumbles. Sometimes it just works out that way. I don't think to answer your question. Yes, I think the Titans have a damn good shot to beat the Chiefs.
As a
I
betting man, would you put money on the Titans to beat the Chiefs?
what are the odds?
Just don't ask me.
Um,
If you had to put all your money on one
without
team,
without
Chiefs versus
seeing
Titans,
without seeing anything that's happened, right? I wouldn't bet on it right now because I hadn't seen the new Titans,
if they
but
play Sunday right now, who are you putting money on?
probably the Chiefs.
That's exactly what I thought.
But that's right now.
I know.
Let me see the Titans play for a month.
I mean, yeah, I get that. I mean, maybe the Ravens get it together. Maybe I don't know. The Joe Burrow and the Bengals decide they want to show up and play football for once in 7,000 years. I don't know.
Jaguars with Trevor Lawrence. There and Tim Tebow.
Oh
Can't forget about Tim Tebow.
no! Do not get me started on Tebow, please. Please.
There's so much surrounding this year that is just uncertain right now. The whole COVID situation aside, it's just. I'm gonna say it again. Gonna be an interesting
See,
year.
yeah, we. I want someone to like go back and listen to all of our episodes since we started again, and just how many
Yeah.
times did they say this season's going to be interesting?
I don't know what other way to say that. It's just there's just so many question marks on this season, and I know we're still 3 months out from week one. But how many questions are they realistically? How many of these questions are going to be answered in 3 months? Probably none of them until at least week one is played.
One thing
There's
that
a
I did
lot of
not, one thing I didn't touch on. Sorry to interrupt you. But one thing I did not touch
no, you
on,
could
uh, with this Titans roster is, you know who's really going to have a breakout year? I
on
mean,
the Titans roster.
yeah, he's played 2 seasons.
Who?
AJ Brown. I get it.
He-
He's got 1,000 yards in both of his seasons. I get it. But as a number 2, this man is going to run wild. I think he has a better season than Julio Jones.
Under over 1,500.
Um,
17 games.
Let me look at his game split from last season so I can get a better.
I haven't even looked at their roster yet, or their. Why do I keep
Mm,
getting confused on that schedule?
is that
They've got
1,500?
1,500.
I would say
A hun-
under. I think he hits, but it's gonna be close. I think he hits like 1,300 to 1,500 with 1,300 to 1,500 with like 13 touchdowns.
So you're saying roughly 80 yards a game and a touchdown.
Yes,
Okay.
I think
I think he's going to be right at, if not a little bit over 1,500.
just like Derrick Henry, obviously, last season people said he showed everyone was like, if you don't load the box, I'm gonna run for 2,000 yards.
Well, here's the perfect. Well, yeah, that's the other thing is Derrick Henry's is half, if not more than half of that team's production. But
That's a downside to think about him popping off is that Derrick Henry is gonna eat up a lot of that production.
yeah, for comparison's thanks, I don't think we have a better comparison than this. Calvin Ridley last year had 1,374 and 9 touchdowns.
I just noticed something, by the way. AJ Brown hit 1,000 yards on 14 games.
So give him an extra.
3 games.
Yeah.
Then he hits 1,300 right there.
Yeah. He's gonna have a good season. He's definitely gonna have his best season yet.
Which is terrifying.
Yeah, and I don't remember who I saw this something on Twitter, talking about the fantasy effects of this trade. Calvin Ridley's stock just shot up, and AJ Brown couldn't have got better.
I agree.
I feel like I don't feel like AJ Brown is any worse of a pickup than he would have been last year.
100%.
I don't think he's any better either. I don't think his situation changed much.
Let's ask this hypothetical. It's your pick, right?
Mm-hmm.
Let's say you've already got a number one running back, you've already got a number one wide receiver. It comes to your pick, and I don't know how the rankings are on fantasy right now for players.
I haven't looked.
But let's say the top two wide receivers in front of you are Julio Jones, AJ Brown.
I'm taking Julio.
You're gonna take Julio?
Yes.
Is this hold on.
Yes.
Let me okay. I understand what you're saying, but I want you to clarify for everyone listening. Are you picking this because it's a biased pick because you're a Falcons fan?
Partially because it's a biased pick as a Falcons fan. Partially because you don't pass on Julio Jones. As much all the jokes, there are truth behind it. He has trouble getting into the end zone. But I will gladly take 7 touchdowns and 1,600 yards on the season.
I would take AJ Brown.
Then I hope you pick before me.
Deal. I'll take AJ Brown. I hope I pick after you because I can still get my player. Like what? I
don't know. That's an interesting one. I don't
know who
see
I would take over both of them.
Calvin Ridley.
Derrick Henry.
Oh well, yeah. I don't think Derrick Henry makes it out of the first half of the first round.
He has to be a first round pick now, right? Derrick Henry has to.
If not number one.
Unless you put this is crazy because CMC and Saquon, who are both, I think they were 1 and 2 last season, if I remember correctly, are both coming off
there too.
We're both coming off of injury. Was Kamara injured last season, or am I going crazy? Or does he just not run?
Both, maybe. I'm not sure. Let's see.
No, he played. Oh, he played. Okay, he played all the games.
Okay.
He played 15, but basically all of them.
900.
You know what? Speaking of it, I have
750 receiving.
I have someone named Daniel Dopp from ESPN, and he says his way too early running back rankings.
Okay.
Christian McCaffrey. I'm just gonna do the top 5 because after that it's whatever.
Yeah.
Christian McCaffrey, Dalvin Cook, Derrick Henry, Alvin Kamara, Saquon.
Okay. Yeah. I feel like that's going to be pretty standard across the board. Yep. Those 5 in no certain order.
I agree.
Trying to see if there is a projections.
How many games do you think the Titans win? Like just glance over their roster, their schedule, and throw out a number.
I would be surprised if they lost less than 11. Being generous. Realistically,
hold on.
13.
You said you'd be surprised if they lost? You mean
Sorry.
One
less than 11, yeah.
Okay.
1 less than 11. Sorry, yeah. No, they are definitely going above 500 comfortably.
Okay. I was like, wow, they're a Super Bowl contender, but at 6-11? That's crazy.
Hey, they're taking the hardest route possible. They're going for 7 seed.
Oh my gosh! So they can win against the 2 seed, and then win against the 1 seed, and then win against.
Not have to worry about it after that. Yeah.
The
cruise
seed?
Through the conference game. No, them again. They have Buffalo on Monday night. That's going to be tough. Kansas City the week after that. That's going to be tough. I think it's possible that they struggle against New England week 12 because that'll be 12 weeks straight, 3 months straight of games before their bye week.
But on the counterpoint, well, they could lose those games. For them to get right, Derrick Henry, he's run 12 weeks straight. Let's say he's already at 1,400 yards, right? Through 12 weeks.
That's very possible, yes.
Which is 100% possible. You give him a bye week in week 13, and then he gets 5 weeks to get ready for playoffs?
Okay. Here's something I'm always curious to hear other people's opinions of, and I'm sure I've asked you this at some point. In the 17-week season.
I know we were going with this.
where would you want your bye week?
Okay,
I think they start
late,
week 5.
late. I want a late bye week. I want the week 13 bye week.
Be as fresh as you can for the last bit of the season.
Because as we saw with the Giants way back when they got hot and beat the Patriots in the Super Bowl, the Giants were trash. Then I don't know when their bye was, but they got hot late in the season. Right? So to me, if I have a week 13 bye and let's say I'm 7-5 going into that bye. I have 5 games left. Man, I am ready to go. Hopefully turn into a 12-5, hit the playoffs, we're on a 5-game win streak, came off our bye. Boom, hit the playoffs, win all the way through, win the Super Bowl. It's crazy.
You think 12-5 is enough to win that division?
The Titans?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Honestly, the only team they have to worry about, in my eyes, is the Colts. With Carson, I like to get injured Wentz. Like
As
Trevor
much
Lawrence
as
and the Jaguars, man,
yeah.
Deshaun Watson, that situation, he's probably not going to play there or anywhere, personally. But anyways, so they only have to worry about the Colts. They could honestly win the division at 10-7.
Yeah, I don't think they're going to have an issue winning the division for sure. They're going to have an issue with seeding in the AFC just because they're contending against the Chiefs, who, if they are less than 2, I'd be surprised.
The Titans is I'm expecting the Chiefs to be number 1.
Yeah.
Just because Mahomes is going to put up 5,000 yards like it's nothing. So I think the Titans need to get the number 2 seed.
Yeah.
So that you can avoid the Chiefs as long as possible and get as much game film on them as possible.
Yeah.
And then obviously it sucks to say hope for this, but sometimes you hope subtly, subconsciously, that certain players get injured. Not seriously, but turf toe and you can't play for a week.
Well, yeah, if you can somehow name one of their 5 weapons for a week, that helps immensely. And even more so if that is a certain player. But you can't bank on that. You
Yeah.
never want to bank on that.
Yeah.
And they'll know that well before going into the game, more 9 out of 10 times, because they always do game time decisions and then they end up playing for half the game because they can't actually play the whole game, but they want them to play a little bit.
That is the worst.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think
Yeah.
it's hard to say. I think the Chiefs go to the Super Bowl again, unfortunately. 'Cause I just I don't know who can
hard.
stop outside. The only team that has shown they can really stop Mahomes was the Buccaneers.
Yeah.
And the only way that they meet in the playoffs in the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
Which would really irritate me because that means I'm watching Tom Brady win another one.
I don't know if it's the fact that I don't want to see Tom Brady win a Super Bowl, much less be in the Super Bowl, or if I don't want to see a. No, it's Tom Brady.
Okay.
It's Tom Brady. I was gonna
Tom
say
Brady,
I don't.
man.
I was gonna say I don't know if I want to see a rematch or not. I 100% would love to see rematch Super Bowls back-to-back years where they have very similar teams, because they're one team's trying to retain the crown, the other team is pissed as hell going into that game. But I don't want to see. I want to see them go 0-17. Unfortunately, that's not going to happen.
No.
They can go 17-0 if Tom Brady's on the field.
It's crazy how good the Bucks got all of a sudden when they got Tom Brady.
It shows you how good Tom Brady is.
I just wanted to look up Mahomes' contract, by the way.
Mhm.
So this is the last year of his rookie deal. So he's only a cap hit of $7 million.
Jesus Christ. Yeah, but what is it next year?
I'm just gonna read starting next year all the way through the rest of his contract. Okay.
Oh Lord.
I'm just gonna say the numbers because it's all in millions, obviously.
Yeah, just say yeah.
35, 46, 44, 46, 41, 59, 44, 44, 50, 52.
They are going to have issues in about next year.
Yes. And what you're gonna start to see is they're gonna say, "Hey, can we do an extension for 1 year and then spread out your contract? Hey, can we do an extension for 1 year and spread out your contract? Hey, can we do an extension for 1 year?" And Mahomes will be signed through the Chiefs through like 2047.
Yeah. I mean,
Chiefs,
they're going to have to do that.
this is the thing is like I think right now the Chiefs, I think they have probably 2 seasons that they'll be fine because I think they still have players that are under contract through this season and next season. Then after that, they can't afford anyone.
That's going to be the issue. That's why you see what Tom Brady did whenever he was at the Patriots for 20 years. He never took a mega contract, which is so smart. And after you've already played for 15 years, what's the use? Same thing we've been saying about Aaron Rodgers or any of these other guys. It's not a money thing. It very rarely is ever a money thing unless they are super early in their career.
Like Dak, for example, it was a money thing.
It 100%, unfortunately. And that is a fair point for those listening. If you didn't remember from the beginning, we are live on Twitch right now. Yeah, Giselle had more money coming from Twitch chat. Giselle had more money than him, and probably is still worth more than him. Actually, 100%. I'm gonna look that up.
100%. 100%.
Because she is the Victoria's Secret, right? The like #1 Victoria's Secret supermodel.
When he said the Victoria's Secret, I thought you meant like she is the entire company, and I was like, no. I don't think that's true. But I also wouldn't be shocked if that was true.
Let's see. Her net worth is $400 million. I love the way this is worded. Her net worth is $400 million, and she gets about $40 million a year salary.
Tom Brady's a net worth of $200 million.
Yeah, I was about to say their combined net worth is $650, almost $650. She is 2/3 of that.
She is worth double Tom Brady.
You're talking about the greatest quarterback of all time. 6 Super Bowl rings and close to 10 Super Bowl appearances. His wife was worth more. That is fucking insane. Hats off to her. And their 8 crotch gremlins.
Don't worry, Mahomes is worth more than both of them at the end of his contract.
Yeah, because it's what was his contract? 10-year, 500, 12-year, 500, 450, something 450. Like that. Yeah, like,
and then add in sponsorships, etc. You know,
his fiance wife. I don't know if they got married.
I think they got married.
Hats off to her.
You made a queen. Go queen.
Get that bag, sweetie. No, yeah. Super happy for him regardless. For all 4 of them. Like, they are in a position in life that
That's so much money.
That is an
I don't want to think about having that much money because it's terrifying to think. It's like, what do you do with it? How do you?
Well, this is what I was about to say. I'm sitting here at 25, almost 26, and I feel like I'm doing pretty good for myself. And I still got $40K worth of debt.
Mahomes is 25 years and 28 days old.
Yeah, and his great grandchildren are not going to have to worry about anything.
All right, let's stop.
Hats off to him. Congratulations.
It hurts. Okay, final question before we end the episode.
What you got?
Titans and Falcons. Are they both winners? Both losers? One winner, one loser? Your thoughts?
I think they both won this trade.
Like 100% both won?
Yes.
Or is it like okay.
No, I feel very comfortable saying both teams won this trade. As much as it hurts to lose Julio Jones and lose that production, We got Kyle Pitts, and Calvin Ridley was already primed to take his position. And on top of all that, we could not afford to sign our rookies or any other acquisitions we're going to have over the next 3 years.
That's fair.
On the other side of that, the Titans just got their true number one wide receiver and completed their triple-headed monster and just built on their already incredible season they had from last year.
I just can't imagine being the Titans
see,
and being like, man, I don't even know if we can get better. Oh, hello, Julio Jones.
Yeah, like
what? That doesn't make any sense.
I don't see. I'm trying to think if there's if one team get made out better than the other, and that's going to depend on how you look at them. Falcons did it for money. Titans did it for
the
productivity.
To that point, the Titans made it out better, unless the Falcons' second and fourth round picks become true talents.
That's fair.
That. Unfortunately, the Titans made it out better. They got Julio for a second and a fourth, and they got a sixth back. Like, the Titans won the trade. But it doesn't mean that the Falcons lost the trade.
Short term lost the trade.
Yeah. But in 3 years, when it could be dealing with a money issue, they're not. So I think the Falcons win-loss is 90% won the trade. We're a winner, 10% loss because you lose Julio. You didn't.
We lost Julio.
It's not a positive situation.
You don't look at a team and say, "Oh, they no longer have Julio," and be like, "Yeah, they got better." No, we didn't.
It's like the Packers, right? If they lose Aaron Rodgers, it's like, hey, we won losing him because he's no longer a mess in our organization. But then it's like, but you
that just got drastically worse.
You lost Aaron Rodgers. I don't
care. I don't care how confident or who is high and mighty on Jordan Love. You just lost Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah.
Another top 5 quarterback of all time. You won't convince me otherwise.
No. But on that note, friends, we are going to end the episode here. If you are in the Twitch chat, this episode or any of the later episodes, we will hang out for a little bit with you guys and chat about the episode and other football questions you have. But you can find us on Twitch. Just search Meme Streams 32 Teams. You can find us on Twitter at Memes 32 Teams. And you can find us on SoundCloud and Spotify and YouTube. Just search Meme Streams 32 Teams. We appreciate you guys listening. And we'll see you guys next time. Peace.
Bye, Twitch chat.